Entrepreneurship 101, inspiring entrepreneurs to rise, innovate, and create lasting impact. And today I have my special guest. He is AI Cancer Health Equity, making technology work for the patients left behind. One of his advocacy, none other than Dr. Eugene Manley.
Good evening. Pleasure to be on with you. How was your day?
Wow, busy, busy, always like you, Dr. Eugene. Thank God for sparing your time with us on Entrepreneurship 101. So, can you please introduce more about yourself? That I listen.
Yep. So I'm Dr. Eugene Manley Jr., and I'm the founder of the SHEC, or STEM and Cancer Health Equity Foundation, and we work to increase STEM workforce diversity and improve outcomes for underserved patients navigating the cancer care continuum. But by training, I'm a mechanical engineer and biomedical engineer that transitioned to patient advocacy because I just saw so many diverse and underserved populations not getting information and resources that they need.
Dr. Eugene, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world. Thank you for your advocacy. Hoping for more success this 2026. And today, let's talk about how mindset shapes every business decision, or in short, business mindset. So tell us, how would you define the founder mindset or CEO mindset? What specific ways does it act as the invisible compass for every strategic choice?
Well, as a CEO, you have to think about the mission, the vision, what you're doing, what you're operationalizing. Did I just make up a word?
Hmm.
I think
I
I
like
just
that.
made I think I
I
just made
like
up a
that.
word. But you
Hmm.
also have to think about how it ties into your product, your services, and then how are you building relationships.
Building relationships, people, connection, connection, connection. And thank you for being my connection through LinkedIn, Dr. Eugene. What is a common scarcity mindset trap that holds small business back? And what does the abundant mindset alternative look like in a practice?
Well, scarcity is, thinking about fear, lack of funding, lack of deals coming through, and and you said abundance. It is, if you put it in terms of that, abundance is when things are working and winning, and you are building momentum. I think they're two sides of the same coin.
Hmm, yes, definitely. There is. So, Dr. Eugene, how does a leader's core belief about human nature, whether people are fundamentally trustworthy or not, shape their policies of hiring, delegation, and oversight?
I think you can make reads on whether people are trustworthy, but the best way to do it is not listen to what people say. It's look at how they act, how they treat other people, how they treat people that are less fortunate to them or less privileged than them. And then that tells you more about a person than anything else. And then that will kind of lead you to decide if you want to or should work with that person or if you should keep them at a distance.
Interesting and empowering answer. Dr. Eugene, can you give an example of how a fixed mindset versus a growth mindset directly impacts a company's approach to innovation and training?
Well, a fixed mindset, you think of it, you could have a company that says, well, we've done X this way for 10 or 15 years, and that's the way we're going to do it. And that's the hill we're going to stand on. Well, that is fine unless there's a new approach that has come along that streamlines. that process makes it more efficient, and would generate more revenue. But if you're fixated in your ways and you're not looking at what's coming forward, then you are going to be stuck and fall behind. The best example of that is BlackBerry. They could have had continue to keep an edge on the market for cell phones, but they refused to innovate because they just thought they were the best, and then they just ended up collapsing.
Yes. The same with Nokia. Now they're gone. On
Those
mindset,
those
yes,
phones
on
were bricks.
yeah. They gone because they're afraid of innovation. Why not just okay, let's do this. Let's do this breakthrough. On mindset in action and decision making, how does a problem-oriented mindset lead to completely different decision than opportunity-focused mindset when facing the same market challenge?
So problem oriented mindset. Repeat, it was problem oriented mindset versus.
Opportunity focus or
So
something.
so opportunity focused mindset means you see, you've sort of done a landscape analysis. You see what the issue is. You've come up with a solution that you believe through due diligence will increase revenue. So you're ready to jump on it. And if you're in a problem based mindset, you're so worried about what's wrong, what's not working, or what might not improve, and then you just can't get out of your way, and then you stay stuck in tread, and then you stop innovating.
Yeah, so Dr. Eugene, as a founder of Shack, how do you utilize your entrepreneurship mindset?
Oh, some days when you run a nonprofit, it's the same as running a for profit. As far as you still have to think about, how many meetings you have, what calls you will take. You have to think about grants, partnerships, volunteers, running events. So you're juggling many things. So you have to try to put stuff in buckets, and you have to. And it's hardest thing to do is you have to understand that you cannot solve every problem in a day, and you have to prioritize what needs to be done on day one versus the next, because otherwise you will burn out.
Yes, you will burn out, people. Take it easy, relax. There is always another day. Tomorrow never dies, as they said. So, Dr. Eugene, when considering a new investment, how does a mindset of fear versus a mindset of conviction alter the risk calculus?
Well, the risk remains the same, but if you really have studied what you're trying to do, and it will, well, put it like this, if you're not afraid of failure, then you will go forward and do the plan. But if you are worried about every little iteration and step that could go wrong, every little step, you'll sit there and freeze, and then you come up with reasons not to do it, and then other people will come and say, well, we can't do it, and and this is sort of like grants. We often fund research grants on incremental advancements, but the big innovations are what drive. So you have to not be afraid of failure to make big leaps.
Yes, don't afraid to commit mistake or failure, people, because you will learn from them. You will be successful for those failures. So how does the mindset or our brand is our most valuable asset translate into specific like daily decision that the company with our product or our only asset mindset would never make?
Well, you whenever a company is making decisions, whatever you do still has to reflect your core mission, objectives, vision, how you want to be seen, how you want to be interpreted. If anything is not in alignment, it should not be done. Now there are some supreme luxury brands They know their clientele are very rich and influent people. They're not trying to get anyone else. And so that's what they stay focused on. So you just have to understand your target segment and really try to keep providing value for them. And remember that they're your core audience. And so you have to keep catering.
Yes, definitely. Keep catering, people. In a crisis, a protect the institution at all costs mindset leads to one set of actions, while protect our people and principles mindset leads to another. Can you illustrate this with an example?
So there's two takes. So because you see this in leaders a lot. So we could, oh, I don't want to use that example. I was about to use a bad example. So let's say you have a company that has a drug. Now, they could market this drug and say it works, but then they've not done any studies on diverse populations, but they're still going to push and market it. And they're just happy to do this because, hey, we got something. But then you start seeing these diverse populations having side effects. And the question is, have you disclosed that in your data or not? So if you've not disclosed it, then you're trying to, pull the wool over people's eyes and you're trying to hope things slide by. And that's really protecting the company as opposed to if you report that you didn't have these populations and you need to refine, then that's really protecting the outside end people, the end users.
Dr. Eugene, tell us on overcoming or limiting mindset. What are the telltale signs that one's useful mindset has now become a limiting belief and it's holding the company back?
The this is a tricky one. You can tell when the mindset is holding you back when it's only really one person that's fixated on a way of thinking, and if everyone else is willing to grow and learn and move forward and they're still but they're in a position of power and they are, you know the gatekeeper, then you would never end up moving forward. And then what happens is either people will stay and try to deal because they know they can't really tell the truth, or you'll start getting people that will leave because they don't feel valued and respected. That's probably
Yes,
more an
it
extreme
happened.
case, but yes.
Mhm. It happened all the times, especially the good one. My goodness. How can a leadership team consciously audit the collective mindset to identify and challenge the hidden assumptions driving their strategy?
I think, leadership is there to really drive and make decisions, but effective leadership means you're a great listener. You make a welcoming environment. You allow people to voice different opinions without, people feeling hamstrung about what they can say. So this takes a lot of trust in your people. But if you don't believe in your people, you really shouldn't hire them. And I don't mean that flippantly. It's like you should be hiring the best people that can do the job that you feel can work together, but you also should empower them to be able to speak up when they think there's an issue or where they believe there's something that can make your product or company work better.
Yes, definitely. Yeah. And what is a practical technique for shifting from reactive mindset to proactive mindset during stressful quarter?
I think this really goes back to how you have fundamentally set up the organization. Are you adaptable and flexible to change? And so you've already built in feedback systems that you can adjust on the fly. So something goes haywire. Okay, we can make an adjustment here. We can make an adjustment over here. Or do you not have these structures in place and then it's chaos? It's absolute chaos. And then there's fear. And then people are more worried about their reputation or how bad they'll look as opposed to really solving a problem.
Definitely. So, Dr. Eugene, can you share a story of a company that made a pivotal turnaround primarily by shifting its collective mindset, not just its strategy?
Let me think about a company that's just. Can I use mine?
Oh, yes, definitely. Go ahead. Go ahead, Mr. Dr. Eugene.
So, we just, launched the Sheck Foundation about August of 2023. And when I started, we went under fiscal sponsorship. And that was the approach we used because it allowed us to work under another organization's tax exempt number, which is a faster way for you to be able to receive funds for your work. Now, when I started, I figured that we would get money faster. However, there's a lot of things that still go on behind the scenes. So you have to figure out the flow of paperwork. You have to figure out, you know, identify all your company prospects, register for all their portals. And the biggest thing you don't know at the beginning is how to write a grant initially with your are you using your budget or your fiscal sponsor's budget? Because generally, if you're under their taxes number, you should be using your fiscal sponsor, but it's hard to get that cadence right initially because you're like, well, which number should I use? And so it took me a good year plus, maybe a year and a half to figure out the right cadence of figuring out. I write in the fiscal sponsor, they're the sponsor, then I write in us as this is who we are, this is what we do, this is how we work together. And then I write the grant as what we as my org is doing. And so now we have some templates that have made things a little more streamlined.
Yes. Thank you for sharing that story through your experience, Dr. Eugene. On mindset and company culture, how does the top leader's mindset about failure? Is it a disaster to be punished or a lesson to be learned? Cascade down the effect every time, every team's willingness to experiment.
I think leadership sets the tone and structure for everybody. So if the leaders are, victim blaming, being demeaning, you can't really speak up, then, you know, it affects morale. But then you look at something like, we'll use an example, the Detroit Lions. Their coach, those players will run through walls for him because he has them believing in themselves and they have no fear at all. But and if you fail, okay, we keep moving forward and you keep learning. And that's an adaptable mindset. But that means you have no fear of change. You are willing to embrace it. And I think that's a great feature to have, but not a lot of places have that in place.
Interesting and empowering, Dr. Eugene. And tell us, if mindset shapes every decision, how does ultimately shape the company's brand and how it's perceived by customers and the market itself?
So I think you said, how does mindset shape the company's perception? That was,
Hmm.
yep.
Yes.
So, you know, as you set your company's, you're setting up your marketing, your vision. So what you've decided is, your from your logo to your messaging to your branding, it's all a reflection of your organization. So it has to be cohesive and consistent, and it has to transport across platforms, whatever medium you're using, whether it's email, whether it's social media, whether it's online. So I think it's just critical to have those things in place so that your audience knows what to look for when they engage with your product or services. Everyone knows what a Gucci bag looks like.
Hmm.
Everyone knows what, a BMW looks like. Your legacy brand. So how you present and behave and show up is what, your customers will remember or forget you.
How would they remember?
Yeah.
Yes, definitely. Yeah. Something to be a legacy to the world. Looking at the industries being disrupted, is it the disruptor's advantage of a fundamentally different mindset, not just a better technology?
I think it could be a combination of both. I think disruptors typically don't think like the status quo. They usually are very quick on their feet. They have great pioneering ideals and they're just willing to go do them. And like I said, not afraid of failure. So I think that's really the biggest factor that influences what these really visionaries do. I don't think it's that the other companies are bad. It's just visionaries. They usually their mind works in a slightly different way. Steve Jobs had a way he did things, and so you just think of these great leaders. They all had something different, but they sort of knew where their goalpost was.
Mhm. Dr. Eugen, what is the single most important mindset shift leader can make today to future proof their business and decision making?
I think to future proof your business, you have to. Well, I think it's more I think you have to. It may not be mindset. It may be practical. You have to think about the role that AI is going to play in building your workforce and advancing your workforce. And we depending on the job, it may be some more automation coming down the pipeline, and there's nothing we can avoid. So you just have to figure out how to incorporate the aspects you need in your business, but don't be afraid of it, but also be aware of the pros and cons.
Yes, definitely the pros and cons. And to wrap up our discussion for today, Dr. Eugen, ultimately, if you could leave every leader with one core belief to adopt about the power of mindset, what would it be?
I would say the biggest takeaway is your staff are your biggest champions, but your customers are who are going to keep coming back to you if you make it memorable.
Make it memorable, people, and make it legacy to the world. So, Dr. Eugen, can you please invite our listeners to support your advocacy, your business, your projects that you're doing right now?
Yes, you can find Sheck, Sheck.org, SCHEQ.org. We also have our, STEM, SCMCHEQ on our social medias, is all of our channels, and we are accepting people if they want us to develop workshops or speaking programs. So just reach out, info@sheck.org. Thank you so much.
Yes, people, let's support Dr. Eugen Manley because if you support him for sure, more and more empowering shock will rise. So, Dr. Eugen, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Modicom people, see you soon.